What happens when we begin to realize that the 200-year experiment we've called the American healthcare system has failed? Tune in to Awakened Wellness with Mylène Riobe, MD, and join the conversation about how to heal our broken system to reverse our current health crisis. The entire world is looking for answers, and the truth is hidden in plain sight. Learn how spirituality, ancient traditions, and cutting-edge science are merging to create a new paradigm of wellness. Every Tuesday at 11 a.m. and 11 p.m. with live shows on the first and third mornings when you can call in and ask the questions that matter most to you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Mylène Riobe, and thanks for joining me live today, January 15th, 2019, on Awakened Wellness with Mylène Riobe, MD, where we'll be going on an eye-opening, mind-expanding adventure into wellness and disease prevention. We're live today, so I welcome your comments and questions. Be sure to call in at area code 833-220-1200 right here on Dream Vision 7 Radio. I'm blessed and honored to be with you here today. We're live every Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. with pre-recorded shows on the second and fourth Tuesday mornings at 11. If you're a night owl, you can listen to our pre-recorded shows Tuesday nights at 11 right here on Dream Vision 7 Radio. During our live shows, I encourage you to give us a call with your questions. Again, our number is area code 833-220-1200. I'd like to stress that what we discuss on our show doesn't constitute medical advice, because I'm not specifically evaluating and treating any particular person or condition on the show. My patients who come to see me at the Riobe Institute are fully and properly evaluated before I formulate a treatment plan to share with them. So I also advise you to seek the care of a board-certified integrative medical doctor to see which one of the ideas I'll be sharing throughout our show that may benefit you. I'm looking forward to continually giving you practical, common-sense advice to help you and your loved ones live healthy and be ready for the challenges of being human in the 21st century here on planet Earth. We'll be debunking myths, learning about cutting-edge research corroborating ancient medical systems, and exploring the mind-body-spirit approaches that keep you and your family vibrant, healthy, and happy. Today we're getting a gut check. We're looking at the hidden gut infections that may be putting your life at risk. This topic is important to me because in Chinese medicine, there's a saying that the spleen is king. In TCM, they call what we would call the gut, they call the spleen. But it includes what we interpret as the entire gastrointestinal system in our conventional medical model. The spleen in traditional Chinese medicine is much more complex than just digestive organs. They're basically energy systems that kind of run not only head to toe, but even go beyond the body. Entire textbooks describe disease treatment from the perspective of the TCM spleen, or what we would call the gastrointestinal system. It's considered to be the hub of health, essentially, according to traditional Chinese medical theory. So according to TCM theory, spleen makes qi, or vital energy, and blood from food. They call it post-heaven qi for this reason. Post-heaven meaning kind of after birth. This is the way that we make our energy, is by eating our food. And the spleen, or the Chinese spleen, which is what we call the gastrointestinal system, will make our vital energy and blood from this food. So it basically runs our entire metabolism, makes our energy and the items that run around in our bloodstream to supply the body with the energy and body function that it needs. For this reason alone, it's critically important. But TCM also states that spleen, or GI, is also responsible for transforming damp, which means it treats inflammation and is a detoxification organ. In fact, the gastrointestinal system is understood in our medical system, in our modern system, to be the chief detoxification organ of the entire body. Spleen suspends organs and keeps blood in the vessels, according to Chinese medicine theory. This is really interesting to me because the way it keeps blood in the vessels is with what we call the microbiome, the good bacteria that live in the large intestine. They make our vitamin K. How the Chinese knew this thousands of years ago, nobody knows, but they did know. Vitamin K is critical for coagulation or blood clotting, and deficiency of this vitamin can lead to bleeding. So this explains what the Chinese knew thousands of years ago when they said that spleen keeps blood in the vessels. TCM spleen also suspends organs. We haven't yet discovered the modern medical explanation for this, but essentially organs are suspended by the upward mobility of energy produced by spleen. Hernias and prolapse, which is a form of a hernia, are prevented by a healthy TCM spleen or gastrointestinal system. In our conventional model, things are suspended by ligaments and connective tissue. So we haven't quite explained what the Chinese meant by this yet, but we do know that it's been a premise in their system for thousands of years. TCM also says that spleen is in charge of defending, which means that the gastrointestinal system forms the immune system. Again, they knew this thousands of years ago. We just figured this out in our modern medicine a decade or so ago. The Wei Qi, as they call it, originates in the middle burner, or loosely the GI system, and is made from grain and water, or in other words, food. So it's clear that TCM spleen, or the gastrointestinal system, is so critical for making all the energy the body uses for body function, running its metabolism, supporting the immune system, preventing inflammation, suspending organs, and preventing bleeding. So it's no surprise that there's been a frenzy about the gastrointestinal system over the decade or so as modern scientists began to better understand the system. When I studied the gastrointestinal system in medical school, it was understood to be a place for digestion and absorption of food and a tube through which waste was eliminated. There wasn't a lot of other emphasis put on this system, and I graduated from medical school in 1996. So a lot has changed in such a short period of time in our modern medical science. In TCM, however, this has been known for 4,000 years. Study after study is emerging about the importance of the gastrointestinal system in the West. It was recently called the most complex ecosystem on planet Earth. In 2012, the Human Microbiome Project was conducted by the U.S. government, resulting in a shocking report, which established that 100 trillion little bugs living in the human gut were critical for our body function. In fact, we cannot live without them. They outnumber us 10 to 1. In our own bodies, we have about 30 to a maximum of 100 trillion cells, depending on size. There are a minimum of 100 trillion bacteria living on our mucosal surfaces as part of our bodies. Further, this report told us unequivocally that these little bugs house 3.4 million genes that control body function for us, our own genes, about as much as a common houseplant. So the fern in the corner of your living room has as many genes in it as you have in your own body cells. This is remarkable. So what makes us so special as human beings is our symbiotic relationship with the bacteria that live within us that provide us with 3.4 million genes as compared to our own 20,000 genes. So keeping those little bugs in our gut, on our skin, in our noses, and in our mouths very happy is critical to our own survival. They're considered the good guys and gals that keep us healthy when we keep them healthy. So it's kind of a you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours agreement that we have with them, whether we know it or not. So on the surface and inside the human body, it's well established that we need certain bacteria that protect and defend us and control our body function. Then there are bugs who are not welcome that can harm us. We'll be discussing these invaders today and the sneaky way they're making us extremely sick and causing many diseases and even deaths without detection. We'll talk about how they gain access to places where they don't belong, and how you can determine if you're providing them with shelter, and how to get rid of them if you are. In fact, these bugs are commonly diagnosed as irritable bowel syndrome, which is essentially what we call a garbage can diagnosis. It's what we call something when we can't call it something. So when we can't define that you have cancer or Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis, we say that you have irritable bowel syndrome if you happen to have symptoms. It's often incorrectly treated with synthetic drugs that do nothing to eliminate the cause and just mask and worsen the situation over time. There's been a lot of hype about H. pylori, an opportunistic bacteria found in the stomach, but the real culprits are elsewhere, hidden in the shadows, undetectable by the usual means. Colonoscopies, upper endoscopies, and biopsies don't find them. Ultrasounds and CAT scans can't see them, but they're wreaking havoc on millions of Americans' health. I'm the medical director of the Rio Bay Institute of Integrative Medicine in Jupiter, Florida. I've been a practicing physician for 17 years and have the privilege of being double board certified in the newly accepted field of integrative medicine as well as an OBGYN. I grew rapidly frustrated with our conventional medical model soon after completing my residency in OBGYN in 2001, when I realized that I wasn't at all equipped despite 13 years of advanced training in medicine. Patients frequently presented with gastrointestinal symptoms, and we referred them to gastroenterologists who would perform testing. They'd find no significant abnormalities most of the time. The vast majority of these patients would be diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome, or IBS, and offered synthetic drugs to control symptoms. What I quickly came to learn as I moved ahead with my study of traditional Chinese medicine, or TCM, and functional medicine, was that we were doing more harm than good with this strategy. In our conventional model, we were following standard of care, but we were not preventing diseases that would spiral from this diagnosis of IBS. What I realized was that conventional medicine was only equipped to deal with acute life-threatening conditions. It had limited ability to prevent or treat chronic conditions like gastrointestinal conditions, for example, which constitute a major health concern for millions of Americans. In fact, in 2013, New York University conducted a survey revealing that a shocking 74% of Americans experience gastrointestinal symptoms of bloating, abdominal pain, nausea, diarrhea or loose stools, constipation, and heartburn. Until I studied TCM and functional medicine, I was unable to assist the vast majority of these patients. That's 74%. That's 3 out of every 4 Americans who have overt symptoms of a gastrointestinal condition, the vast majority of which don't share this information with their physicians for whatever reason. I learned that I wouldn't be able to change the conventional model, but rather look at other systems that were better equipped for what my patients needed. My patients come to see me for symptoms of gastrointestinal disturbances or fatigue. Symptoms of fatigue, anxiety, and depression are not directly related to the gastrointestinal system, but they are indirectly related, as we are learning the hard way. Americans are realizing that masking symptoms with synthetic drugs is dangerous in the long run, but many don't know where to turn for answers. Savvy patients are wanting to find out if they really should be exposing themselves to these toxic drugs or if there are better options out there to help them. No better, but to be healthier. On today's show, I'd like to start a conversation about the underlying causes of what might be called or diagnosed as IBS and discuss how this misdiagnosis can actually put your life at risk. Later in our show, I'll share 5 tips